So. Let's see if I can still do this. Start game, change leaders. All cards, keine da. Das ist ja toll. Ah, schon besser. Das. Ah, okay. Card Collections, Cards and Deck. Den ehrlich mal. Ach, mach irgendwann ganz in Ruhe hier. Start Game und Fuck off. Ich starte mal Mittel mit Sheldon. Redraw! Nein, ich will nicht redrawen! Ach, verfluchte Scheiße. Toll. Ich bin stolz auf meine Lesefähigkeit. Okay, ich habe dafür so einen zweiten Kommando bekommen, also... Fangen wir mit dem an. Das ist ja toll. Oh, oh! Oh, oh! Das ist sweet, oh. Gut, da gehen wir höher, so. Hä? Place on your opponent's battlefield counts towards opponent's total and draw 2 cards from your deck. Ah, okay. Das Ding macht Range Combat auf 1. Das ist gut, weil das ist die eine, die ich nicht überragend habe gerade. Machen wir erstmal den einen und gucken, was er dann macht. Sehr gut. Dafür kriegt der noch einen Bonus. Der passt, okay, wenn er Spaß dran hat. Alles Siege-Dinger, okay. Ich hätte auf meine Total-Dinger gucken sollen. Was macht er nochmal? Pick an impenetrable 4 card from your deck and play it instantly. Great, das ist voll toll. Ja, dann kann ich halt nur noch meine Dingens hier spielen, oder? Ah, das ist seine. Oh. Hat wahrscheinlich den gleichen Effekt wie Dingens bieten, ne? Place on your opponent's battlefield, count towards opponent's total and draw 2 cards from your deck. Nett. Sehr schön, die werden mal hoch. Wieso passt der die ganze Zeit? Was bringt denn das? War das rundenabhängig oder bis man keine Karten mehr auf der Hand hat. Weil wenn der jetzt die ganze Zeit am Parsen ist, dann hätte der natürlich den Vorteil, dass er sieht, was ich habe und danach darauf reagieren kann. Ja, beim Parsen war mal fröhlich, ne? Okay. Das war jetzt nicht... Was? Ich konnte nicht. North Draw, was? Ach stimmt, die kommen weg. Ah, ich bin ein Idiot. Ich bin ein Idiot. Ich habe einen Tight Bond. Jawohl. Nice. Ich hab wieder richtig geil. Oh, guck mal, ich kann ihn ja voll easy abziehen. Ja, Arschlecken. Ich sollte regelmäßiger Rent spielen, damit ich weiß, wie das funktioniert. Ja. Peng. Gut, so viel. Ja, ich bin dumm. Hello. Ist das hier draußen, wo die Shopkeep? Stand da nicht was von, ach Quatsch, Inventory. Karte bitte. Stand da nicht irgendwas von Shopkeeper? Oder ist das der Schmied und Shopkeeper in einem? Nee, warte mal, da ist er doch. Die Olle da in der Ecke oder was? Ah, nee, das ist ein Typ.
An amulet, a bazaar, some tortoise shells.
What else you have on offer?
Corpse teeth and kidney stones. Tried remedies for trying times.
Das ist ja toll. Goldener Schädel. Kann man das gar nicht leisten. Ich hab Food. Ja, ich hab Food. Diesen ganzen Komponentenquatsch nochmal.
So long.
Muss mich da erstmal durchgucken. Don't eat cat. Kind people, don't eat cats. It brings horribly ill luck. After I brewed a broth from our she-cat, next day I twisted my ankle in the field. Instead they speak truth, saying cats are creatures soaked in foul magic and copulating with witches. Seek revenge from beyond the grave. Yes, certainly. Rosa. Good folk, Wolfram, yeah. Good folk. Take no advice from the peller. When old Rosa fell weak, he said to put her on a pine plank and stick it in the fired bread oven. Wer ist Rosa? Ist das die Tochter? Oder irgendein Haustier? Aber das ist jetzt irgendwie Hänsel und Gretel. Then count to a dozen 3 times. When we pulled her out, she had burned to a crisp, and there was nothing left to bury the charred bits. But the Paolo refused to give back the 3 hard-boiled eggs we'd given him, saying he'd already eaten them. Was zum Teufel? Looking for work, follow. I'll do any job for a bowl of soup or scrap of bread. I've done a bit of carpentering and carpenting and have my own tools. Old Millie's gone mad. Old Millie's lost whatever wits he had left. Running around the yard and nothing but his nighties, yelling horrible ludities and smearing mud pies on anyone who walks close to the fence. Best avoid this place, especially if you're a freshly laundered dress on. Das immer mit, klingt nach einer Aufgabe. Countering Jenny or the woods. Hark, Ildor, yeah. Hark, some devilry takes hold of our fields. Something neither spirit nor phantom. Old Will swears on its mother's grave it's like to be Jenny on the woods. Whether it is or it ain't, be careful and don't go out in the field alone. And most certainly not without scythe or a rake in hand. But if you have the courage to drive the foul thing off, you'll receive a handsome reward. Volko. Ealdorman of Midcorps. Hands off my plums. If I catch anybody taking my plums from my orchard, I'll leave him in two with my axe. Don't say I didn't warn you. Winzlos. Das wollte ich eigentlich mitnehmen, aber fuck it. Da fällt mir ein. Ich weiß gar nicht mehr, was ich gefunden habe neulich. The Elder Blood? Ich mache jetzt die angesagte Lesesession. The Elder Blood. Wenn ich irgendwas schon mal gelesen habe, tut mir leid. The Elder Blood. What exactly is the Elder Blood? According to some, it is a powerful elven curse, passed from generation to generation. Those in whose veins das geht ja gut los. Those in whose veins the infamous Handicare flaws are said to carry death and destruction within them, to sow hatred and disdain in the hearts of men. It was from this contaminated blood that Evelyn prophesied an avenger would be born, a destroyer of nations and worlds. Others claim the Elder Blood is an extremely rare inherited talent, granting control over time and space to a degree unattainable even to elven sages. Sadly, few bearers of this gift have been able to control it in full. This merely partial mastery inevitably leads to sudden outbursts of the power that take the form of unpredictable, uncontrollable, and thus extremely dangerous explosions. Behind the dark legends about the curse of the Elder Blood lies the truth of these tragic cases. For obvious reasons, the bearers of the Elder Blood were always subjects of great interest to the world's mighty and to mages alike. The former counted on the truth of Ethelyn's prophecy, on an avenger being born who could destroy worlds, and who they could thus use for their purposes. As for the latter, they hoped to harness the magic of Hen-Ichir to broaden their own knowledge and powers. Ultimately, however, all these plans were for naught. The Elder Bloodline broke off with the disappearance of the heiress to the Nilfgaardian crown, Cyrilla Fiona Eleanoria. Oh, Plot Twist! Siri, Moment. Heir to the Nilfgaardian crown, Cyrilla, Siri. Zumindest ist Siri die einzige Cyrilla, die ich kenne. Wir wissen, dass sie die Tochter von Emir ist. Elder Blood, Power, Peng Peng. Ist das irgendwie was, ähnlich mit diesem Speedburst Energy Shit, den wir gesehen haben, als wir gespielt haben. Sowas in der Art vielleicht? The Bear Legend habe ich schon mal gelesen, oder? Ich weiß es nicht. Das ist ein Werwolf-Ding. Aua. In beast's clothing, they entered his hut and began to search. First, they tore through his bed. Dry twigs covered the sheets. That was the first proof, for werewolves return at dawn after a night of hunting. Their bare feet covered in the forest droppings. They found a second proof under his bed, a wolf's hide. The werewolf surely dressed himself in it when transforming with the setting sun, and shed it again when he turned to man the next day. Having found these powerful proofs, they ceased deliberation and began the hunt, vowing to find the lycanthrope and bind him in the silver chains. The Bear Legend. The Berserkers do not constitute a separate clan in terms of blood or lineage. They are instead a family forged by warriors who have heard the call of the bear and answered it by abandoning their loved ones and joining the community of mountain dwellers. Not every man who seeks to join it is accepted into the Brotherhood. The candidates must first pass difficult trials which usually end in their death. The last trial is the hardest. It is called the Trial of the Bear's Triumph. But few outside the Brotherhood have ever witnessed it, and none know what those who undergo it must endure. Quite curiously, the inhabitants of Skelligan themselves know very little about the Berserkers, or Wildcarls, as they call them. They do not like to talk about these man-bears, not with outsiders and not even among themselves. Of sweat and blood. A veil hangs between the world men see and the one they cannot. This veil blocks the dead from the view of the living, and the living from the view of the dead. Some mages can break through this veil and communicate with the dead, or else summon them to the world of the sun for short periods of time. This is the art known as necromancy. The dead can also break through the veil and enter the world of the living on their own. Yet unlike the necromancers, in doing so they are not driven by reason and will, but by thoughtless, irrational need. This need arises from powerful emotions such as regret, longing, or wrath. Very often these emotions gain their power by being invested in a material object by the dead individual while he or she still knew life. The objects most frequently so endowed. Wedding rings, favorite toys, or the instrument used for the crime which sent the returned individual to the other world in the first place. Ja, das haben wir schon damals beim Devil in the Well, by the Well. Da ist er. Das habe ich schon mal gelesen, bin ich ziemlich sicher. Heroic's Notes, Love Letter. Diese nochmal, oder? Die 4. Love Letter. My dearest husband, I breathed a sigh of relief after reading your last letter. I'm so glad you're on the I'm so glad you are on the mend after your injury. I know how upset you must be at having to spend the next few weeks in a field hospital, but my heart rejoices that you will not be risking your life on the battlefield. Tamara grows and grows and grows. She can even stand up now. If she holds onto something, though, she's still quite unsteady on those chubby little legs. She needs constant minding, for every time I turn my back she's climbing onto the table and grabbing whatever her little hands can find. Yesterday she almost poured a bowl of hot soup all over herself. I think I will take on that Miller girl as help, because I'm afraid one day I won't catch Tamara in time. Das hab ich schon mal gelesen. Especially now when you are gone, and I must look after all our household affairs myself. Dear Philip, I miss you dreadfully and eagerly await your return. Every day I pray to Melitele for your health and our daughters, and for our family to be whole once more. I hope this horrible war will end soon. I love you. Yours forever, Anna. Sorry, habe ich mal gelesen. Letter to Alexander. You're okay. Habe ich mal gelesen, glaube ich, oder? Ich weiß es nicht. Darling, I'm writing because you must be worried that I'm still angry. Silly man. You know full well I never hold a grudge long. I forgive you. It's all because of that secretiveness of yours. Secretiveness of yours. Is it so strange for me to take an interest in your plague research? I adore watching you at work in your tower. Please, if you still refuse to discuss the results of your experiments with me, at least don't deny me that small pleasure. If Zara doesn't need you tomorrow evening, come see me. We'll clear everything up over a glass of wine. Or two. Or more. You're okay. You're okay? You're okay, darling? You're okay, darling? Haben wir schon gelesen, glaube ich. After the White Frost. Habe ich noch nicht gelesen. Doch, das ist... Das habe ich noch nicht gelesen. Habe ich kurz überflogen und das ist auch noch neu. Was ist jetzt gerade ist, also letzte Folge erst gekommen oder so. Vorletzte. Allow me, if I may. After the White Frost. Spiring ash down dreamy hills, past sparkling waters, Tirna Lea drifts, slowly, softly, silently, into oblivion. Sage lips blacken, frosted bones quiver, before an ice-bound eye can blink. In distant skies I will watch your descent. Das hat keine Reime, ich find's scheiße. The ladies of the wood. The gods have abandoned us. The mighty of this earth care not for our fate. Only the ladies of the wood watch over Valen. In the foul times when plague and famine reap their harvest, we must beg the ladies for help. If they see fit, they will hear our pleas and knock back fortune's foul blows. This is how one begs help from the ladies. Find a child, young and innocent, and take it to Crookback Bog. Seek out the lady's shrine. 'Tis where the trail of treats begins. Set the child off on the trail, and it shall follow the sweet track and find the good ladies. The child will never want for anything again, for the ladies are kind and generous, and the child itself will be dead. Stand before their shrine, pronounce your supplication, and the good ladies will hear, for they see and hear all that takes place in their dimension. Das fuck ist das für ein Wort? Dimension. For they see and hear all that takes place in their dimension. If you made the offering as it must be done, your plea shall be heard. Okay, that's enough edge for today.